technology behind the walls of the hotel, behind the scenes, that don't touch on brand standards, but when it comes to guest-facing technology and things that are in the room or that the guest sees and touches, brand standards are critical, because that's how we enforce these technology changes and get better speed to market, especially when you operate an international chain with multiple brands. If you see that the trends are changing and the guests have different needs, you need to put these into the brand standards in order to communicate it to the hotels and have it enforced and rolled out quickly. Today, I think it's still a balance point that we need to find. I think if you have a guest that's paying a lot of money for an internet connection, they're going to be unhappy. If you have a guest that's not paying anything for their internet connection, but it's a poor experience, they're still going to be unhappy. So how do we find that balance point where the hotel can put the infrastructure in place to make sure the guest has a good experience, and yet are not trying to scrimp on the bandwidth in order to make sure that there's enough there for the guests to use? Because we know that the common issue where as your price goes down, your consumption and usage goes up, which means you need to buy more bandwidth, your cost goes up, you're losing the revenue to help offset that. So how do we find that balance point where we can still give them a good connection, a satisfactory experience, but they're not paying too much? And it's not just about the cost, it's what else is managing that bandwidth. It's not, you can throw as much bandwidth into the hotel as you can get. If you don't have enough infrastructure to manage how that bandwidth is being used, you're going to continue to have unhappy guests. And especially when you're operating in countries and in continents like Africa, the Middle East, Asia, where they're paying a high amount of money each month for a fraction of the bandwidth that they're getting in Europe or the States, it becomes even more important to manage that effectively. 2 years into the future is tough, but I think the trends that we're seeing today are going to continue, where instead of imposing content on the guests, you continue to enable the guests to use the content that they're bringing with them. So pairing their devices with other devices in the room, letting them use the TVs in the room as a way to display their video, their photos, their music. We need to find better ways and easier ways for the guests to do this. I think we see what's happening with TVs today is that they're becoming more focused on the services they can offer, which is going to continue. The TVs are going to be a portal, a way to communicate to the guest, interact with them more directly, and be able to offer other hotel services. Now, how they use the TV in the room is a big question. Are we going to let them manage the TV with their device, using it like their own remote control? The guest is comfortable using their own smartphone today. Why not let them use the thing that they're comfortable with already and the applications they brought to continue to use that on the TV? The TV, since the TV is already in that area, it can add some things like localization, personalized services within the hotel by doing better guest profiling, interfacing it to the property management system, learning about that guest, making the products and services that are offered on that TV more relevant to the guest.